Hi, this is Cynthia Ortiz. It is January 6, 2022. These are the Charles Perry Stalker Podcast. Use the disclaimer, use allegedly. Nobody's been found guilty in a court of law yet. We apply the but for and the reasonable person standard herein because Mr. Perry bothers me and we need to establish mains rea. And he insists on victimizing me every fucking day. Um, and he's been getting caught more than ever in his life, too, by the way. We wouldn't have to do podcasts. So there's that. And we assert all constitutional rights, equal protection included. That would get some need to address gender bias, misogyny, discrimination, gender discrimination, right? So, okay, so real quick, I went over Mike Neely's whole case. Again, we're very pissed off that the man is sitting in prison. His life will never be the same. This guy took a police report from me 6 days before he's accused of murder, and he's pulled off something no human person on the planet has ever pulled off. He's drugged and unconscious, and he beats someone to death, and ends up with not a mark on him, but a red swollen hand, which was probably more likely red and swollen due to the IV in it, the needle. Or he did it with his ass while he's sleeping, drugged and unconscious. Never before has that been pulled off by anybody in the history of all mankind. So we're pissed because he's a police officer. He took a police report from me 6 days before this horrible thing where his life blew up. And my report was on car vandalism. I'd had a lot of threats to my car. I'll get into that later. Specifically from Charles Perry, David Robertson, Joe Chadwick, Matthew Powell, and Josh Burson, whom I was suing at the time. Mr. Perry did pretty much the same thing to me that he did to Officer Nealey. The report that I made to Manford Police was done after many events happened to my car. Because we were in court, I decided I need a protective order. I can't keep allowing this crap to happen to my car. I had the oil drained out. I had taillights taken out. I had police call me and tell me they took your taillights out. Go look. I worked all night at a strip club as a dancer. So I slept all night. I worked all night and I slept all day. I woke up about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. This happened in April 2019. Mr. Perry's being investigated on a much worse crime, sexual exploitation of women, children, torture, torment, human rights violations, that type of thing. We have a witness that says ever since I've known Charles Perry, he trolls women. He tells his wife he's out of town on business, so she's not with him. He stalks women. He finds divorced women with kids. He has cameras installed in their home when they're not there. He broadcasts watch time on the dark web all over the world, every country all over the world, and sells watch time. He's a sexual sadist, so he'll get them fired from their job, then hacks them so when they're trying to find a new job, he's interfering with that, and then they lose their house, and then he has the ex take the kids away. He likes to get women hysterical, and then he goes, and I'm quoting the witness, and rubs one out. This is a need to know. I'm the bait, Mr. Perry. You're still not getting it. When you pester me, you get told on. When you pester me, you get caught. When you bother me, you get told on. When you bother me, you get caught. And that does not seem to click for you. It's so fucking irritating that you're that slow, because it's been that way for a long time. McNamara email of 2015, sir, was the first we got something and we're allowed to put it out. You told someone you wanted to arrange my false arrest and coerced me, and it so deeply disturbed that guy that he reported you. When you told him what you wanted to do to me, a hardship that you wanted to cause, a fraud upon a court you wanted to cause, and you did it. You carried out the threat. You knew I had the email. You did it anyway. You are the dumbest son of a bitch I've ever met. So, anyways, at the place where I was staying was Lakeshore. What I did, my son and I lived in a house in Sapulpa, and that's where he went to high school and graduated. After he graduated, I was like, I'm going to just live in hotels for a little bit and kind of bounce around so maybe Mr. Perry can't find me. And he did anyway. Mr. Robertson had, pretty soon after I got there, all his employees staying around me. So They were probably involved in what was going on with my car. Drained the oil out, took the tail light out. I wake up at, when you leave your house, you just walk out and you leave, get in your car and drive away. Well, I'm called about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, woken up, and told they took your tail lights out. He wants you pulled over by Manford Police. So go fix it before they do that. So I went, or Mays County, I'm not sure. But he just said he wants you pulled over. So I went out at 1 o'clock. I'm usually sleeping till 3. I'm woken up at 1. I go out, I check my tail light, sure as shit, it's out. I went down to the Napa there in Manford and had it fixed. So those two things happened. My radiator, somebody poked a hole in it. So that was all jacked up. I got stranded in Tulsa. I had to have somebody come fix it for me. Thankfully, it wasn't a hard fix. So it was one thing after another after another. And then the worst thing that happened is I had a brick thrown at me on the freeway. As I was leaving to go to work, I saw Mr. Perry's guy sitting there at the exit, so I went out a different way. And when I did that, that actually delayed my travels about 3 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. So I was a little further behind the guy than they thought. I'm sure that the guy sitting at the exit was calling down the road to the one who threw the brick at me, is typically what they did. And so when they were going to pull some shit like that. So I get down the road and a brick comes flying at me, hits the pavement, bounces up and under my car and it cracked the engine in two. That could have been my head. Had I gone out the way normally, the quicker way, that's probably what would have happened. But instead, I went out a different way and it delayed me like 2-3 minutes. So it instead busted my car engine into it. They totaled it. I got a new car. That's when I had the vandalism. I opened my trunk. There's some kind of weird powder everywhere. I went and talked to the maid, Laura Collins, and I said, "Did you see anybody do anything in my car?" And she had commented that before. In fact, she wrote a statement about it, that people had pulled up, taken pictures of my car, or pulled up and like were yelling around my car one day. She goes, "There's some young guys that came up and they pulled right up to your car. They're like yelling, screaming, like party, whatever." And then they left. And she said, "I called Lucky 3 times. And I've told them to patrol the area better because we've got I'm seeing crap happen. I mean, I've lived here 10 years. I'm seeing stuff happen I've not seen before with people pulling up here, taking pictures and shit. It's fucking creepy. And so he wants us to get tags." I was like, okay. Well, she saw more than me because I slept in the day, and she'd be out and about in the day. So she actually saw more than I did. But anyways, so also remember Lucky and Mike came to my work. I didn't talk to Mike at all. Like, he got up, went to the bathroom. I sit down, I'm talking to Chief Miller. He's asking me about a marriage license. Did I sign a marriage license? And I was like, no. Why would I fucking do that? I'm suing the guy I want a protective order. And he said, okay, I got it. I need to verify that with you. And they're taking your money, and I've told them to get their hands out of your wallet. That if we saw you getting mugged, if we see a woman getting mugged and somebody takes her purse, we're going to have 5 guys jump on him and take it and give it back to her. And I don't see the difference in what they're doing. They're running off your customers. So we have told them, get your hands out of her wallet. I'm not going to have people in my town inconvenienced because you want to get out of a lawsuit. Go fight this in court like normal people do. So he had told me those 2 things. I got called up on the stage. I went to dance. Mike comes back from the bathroom and they left. So I didn't even get to talk to Mike. If that, I believe that was him with him. The conversation with Lucky was very short, but he drove an hour fucking to talk to me. I was right 10 minutes from the police department. So why did he have to drive an hour to where I work and talk to me there? Yeah. Anyways, okay, so then so I asked Laura if did you see anybody messing with my car? And I showed her my trunk. She goes, "No, but look, this other room is covered with the same powder." So she's showing me the room. I took pictures, and it was from top to bottom, completely covered everywhere with that same powder. So I called Manford Police, and it took me an hour to make that decision. I usually make decisions very, very quickly. It took me an hour. In fact, I told her I changed my mind. I'm not going to call. Go ahead and clean the room. At first, I had asked her to wait and let them look at it. Well, then I decided not to call. Then I went back and I was like, maybe I should just call. In Oklahoma, you have to file a police report to get a protective order. So typically what I do is, because stalking is kind of weird, and I'm not, it could be some random guy did this. That's possible. Or it could be them. 50-50 chance it's them. I don't know anybody. I told Officer Nealey I don't know anybody this weird. So, other than the stalker, he's got, I'm suing 5 people because he hired somebody. So, that guy's got his employees right next to me here. And, I said, those could be your leaks, Perry. I mean, Perry's always like, want to know who told. Well, maybe Dave's employees that he hired that were staying right next to me. I mean, come on with this. So, they took my report, and there's no suspect named. I said we didn't see who did it. We don't know. The job of law enforcement is to decide that. If they come back and say it was him, then I got to file a protective order, and I have to have that police report to get it. I'm already in court. I'm already asking for a protective order. And again, by law, there's a required hearing in 14 days, and there was no hearing. So that's the other question: is why are there so many motions filed and there's never a hearing when even there's required by law a hearing? And if there is one, she's not allowed in. And then when people hear the podcast, everybody's like, well, that explains it. Perry does not want her saying all this in a court of law. So he's doing all these ex parte hearings, so she's not there. We have texts and so forth to prove that he is contacting me within the form state of Oklahoma. He went into court and testified that he wasn't. But he made sure I wasn't there to show the text. So now he's got some perjury problems. And he did the same thing with my false arrest. There was 2 things he would have to prove, because the charges against me were filed not in Oklahoma where I lived and had lived for 2 years, but in Lubbock where he lives. One is a false police report was filed in retaliation for a public servant doing his job. So he had to prove that it was false, which he couldn't do because he obstructed justice. I filed the report on the 21st of 2016 in January. He had me arrested on the 29th. That's a week. I hadn't even talked to a detective. He interfered with the chain of custody of evidence. He destroyed my evidence. Mr. Powell made no effort to collect it as DA. They never intended to go to trial. Because if you intend to go to trial, you want to collect the evidence. It's the responsibility of the prosecutor. Otherwise, it's prosecutorial misconduct. Not only that, he held me for 2 months, not preserving a fucking thing of my evidence. I lost my evidence as a result. These are federal RICO violations, by the way. So we were looking at Title 18, 1512, and 1513. So anyways, I report this to Officer Nealey, and that was how we left it. It's most likely them. I don't know anybody else weird enough to do this. They've specifically been threatening my car. They've got their guys staying right here next to me. So they got access to my car, means, mode of opportunity, all that. They wanted my car fucked up so that I couldn't fight them in court. You can't go to work, blah, blah, blah. And I said, they typically get a key. They pay the dealer or, somebody a little something, get a key. They've had a key to every car I own. And so there's no forced entry here. And so you might want to check into that, because I can say that, but we got to prove that in court. Second of all, here's the pictures of the room. I did take pictures. He was looking at Officer Nealey was looking at those. And very attentive, very kind, very interested in the facts. My conversation with him and Officer Gibson was a pleasant interaction. They were very interested in looking at my evidence, which I'd have a problem with TPD not wanting to look at my evidence. So it's nice that Officer Nealey wanted all the information and all the evidence. Then, I was raised by 3 generations of police, so I've never seen a police say, I don't want to look at your evidence. That pissed me off. I was like, oh my God, you said that to the wrong person, lady. There was a lady at TPD that said, I don't want to see your evidence. And 2 of them, and I about flipped a gasket. But anyways, that's a whole nother story. I got in touch with the city attorney, and he got my evidence, so they have it. So Manford was a whole different, thankfully, much more professional experience that I had before. So he looked at all my pictures and everything. 6 days later, I wake up to a text of Laura telling me Chief Miller's dead. So I was like, what? Like 6 days later, and she says she's texting me that Officer Nealey was in jail, and I was like, what? So pretty soon she comes, maybe an hour later, comes banging on my door. They got them both. She goes, they got them both. And I'm like, you mean Charles and Dave got them? And she goes, yeah, they got them both. The Texas Mafia, these guys that are after you, they got them both. And I go, you think they did this? And she goes, I'm thinking they did this. Well, everyone commented on the black SUV with Texas plates that would come through. And in fact, after all that, I just really jumped all over Chief Ridley, not realizing who he was. He was in a black SUV, and he could have been a jackass to me, and he wasn't. He was very kind. So I pull, after all that, we're trying to figure out what the fuck happened. Everybody was confused. Mr. Buttram, the mayor, and Chief Ridley all commented that doesn't make any sense because those two were very good friends and they weren't fighting. Nobody knew of any kind of conflict between them, so none of this makes any sense. So my guys start digging what the fuck happened, and it was like very sad what happened, and I felt like I wish I hadn't made the phone call, and it took me a long fucking time to make that decision to make the phone call, and doesn't normally take me more than a second to make a decision. I think about all the facts. I think about all the situation. I get all the information I can. I make a decision and I move forward. And I don't. Everyone knows me at this point probably well enough to know I don't ask permission. I don't ask what anybody else thinks about it. I do it. I don't ask, like, if I have to for a job ask permission or for approval, then I will for that. Otherwise, I don't care what people think about what I do. I'm going to do what I believe is the right thing to do and go forward. And then if things don't work out like I want them to, I try to make some adjustments to get the goal met. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter what it is. And so, anyways, later, like a month or so after that, um, I was at work and had come home from work, and there was a black SUV sitting in the parking lot, and I was pissed about what happened to Lucky Chief Miller and Officer Nealey. I was pissed about being stalked. I was pissed about going through the shit they were putting me through at work, and I was pissed about the fucking SUV being there all the time. So I was about ready to let somebody have it, and I walked up to the fucking SUV, and the guy rolls the window down, and I go, I need to know what the fuck you're doing here. And then I looked inside the car and saw the police equipment, and I went, oh, you're police. But Chief Ridley at that point could have just ripped my ass and said, I'm the cops, and who the fuck are you to ask me? He didn't do that, though. Actually, he laughed at me and was so nice. And I go, you're police? What department are you with? Because and he goes, Manfred. And I go, well, Manfred's vehicles are all white and this one's black. So I'm sure you can see my confusion. And he goes, well, Lucky got this one in a drug bust. And I said, okay, and do you mind if I ask your name? And he goes, Chief Ridley. And I was like, oh, God. And I said, I'm so sorry for what you guys are going through. And are you guys okay? And he goes, yeah, we're gonna be okay. I mean, it's hard. And I said, well, I'm glad you are here because I have some papers for you. So what I had was the photos of the inside of the hotel room that had the powder all over it. Like I said, I showed that to Officer Nealey on my phone. I didn't have it printed up for them to have, so I had, in the meantime, gone and had those printed up. So I gave him that. Also, my storage unit was broken into on the night of Chief Miller's procession. So there was this one officer that would kind of hang around the area of the storage unit and the Jiffy Trip and all that kind of area of town. And since he was at the funeral procession, somebody broke in that night. So I gave him all the information about that too. My birth certificate was stolen out of there and some other stuff. But anyways, it was interesting they picked that night to get in there. And so anyways, I move into Tulsa, and around January, we find out that Mike because my guys are investigating Charles and Dave and Josh and Joe and Matt, and they are investigating the sexual exploitation bullshit. Um, they find out that Mike Nealey was drugged, and so I get in touch with Travis Myers and email him and tell him Mike didn't do this. He was drugged. He's a victim of attempted murder. At that point, there wasn't really anything on the docket, public. Um, I'm waiting for a response. I get nothing. So I get in touch with him again, and this time I'm getting pissed. And it's March 2nd, 2020, and I believe I texted Marcus Harper too, of TPD, and said he didn't do this. He was drugged, and by the way, not tested till he got to the hospital. That's a Brady violation. And so we he's still not getting in touch with me. The Florida State's attorney's not contacting me at all. As a prosecutor, your job is to seek the truth and to bring justice and to remedy a wrong. It is not to make up a story and perpetrate a fraud upon a court and have a guy's future taken away. There's too many wrongful convictions in this country, and what happens when you get the wrong guy is like the Netflix thing of It's the True Story of Mark O'Leary. He was a rapist. The guy raped a little girl, and the police got it wrong, and in fact they charged her with false reporting to police. She had to pay a $500 fine, and she was very traumatized, and she couldn't really explain what happened to her. So they thought she was lying, and because they failed right there, the guy kept victimizing more people, and he ends up in another jurisdiction where there's some badass Batman cop who they get his ass, and they find a camera in his property that had the picture of the little girl who was accused of lying. Her picture was on his camera of him raping her. So then they knew at that point that she wasn't indeed a victim and she didn't report anything falsely at all. And that's the problem that we have in going for it when police get it wrong. I came from 3 generations of police, so I'm taught you don't fucking get it wrong. You owe it to the people that you serve to get it right. And you don't get to victimize more people by getting it wrong. You don't get to. It's dereliction of duty. You better fucking get it right. So when Mike is in jail and he's not done anything wrong, then the real person is out there trying to kill still. My life has been threatened again and again and again because the person who's doing the murder is still out, while Mr. Nealey, who is a victim of attempted murder, is locked up, and he's not the danger to society. The individuals who did this are the dangers to society, and they're victimizing more people, even still. If there wasn't a bigger case and a need to keep people's identities private right now, they'd already be in jail. There's a strategy there, and I'm not allowed to discuss what that is, and nor do I always agree with everything. And if it were up to me, Perry would have been in jail a long time ago. I think that there was some expectation of Tulsa police to step up and do their job in obstructing of justice charges when they did my false arrest and destroying my evidence, my blood evidence that I was poisoned just like Mike. So it's the same perpetrators. So because they didn't step up, I think that caused some delays, that caused some problems. If they get 5 people and my guy's got 100, do you not think that's a little easier to do? 5 people? I think so. So I'm not allowed to really get into all that, but believe me, the faster that they're in jail, happier I am personally. It's just not my call. So I'm a one cog in this fucking thing. So there's a lot of victims, a lot of hurt people, and anybody that knows me knows my admiration for my granddad, not my great-granddad, well, him too. My great-granddad was the captain of detectives of Roswell Police in Roswell, New Mexico. My granddad was the chief, and they believe that lawmen are called to relieve suffering caused by crime. That's the job. That's just what you do. You don't cover it up. You don't lie about it. You don't take money and try to, make it attack a victim. Shut the victim up. Guess what? There'll be another victim. You're not getting anywhere with that. So, you be able to look the victims in the face and say, "You're safe now. We got the monster that's hurting you, and he won't hurt you again." That's the job right there. So I don't have a lot of patience for incompetence. I don't have any patience for corruption. I don't have it. I'll call you on it straight up. I don't care who you are. So I don't have to. No one does. We get the government we ask for. The government is to serve the people. My granddad was the power in the town where I grew up. He was the power. That's the house I grew up in. And he taught us that power is in service to others, not Hitler. So when I say that, that's my mindset. That's where I'm coming from on this. We have a family now with no dad. We have another family with a dad who is illegally incarcerated and has been smeared. His reputation is gone. He will never be the same. These are injuries that can't be remedied, for sure. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna slap the fuck out of you. I don't, sometimes when people who would do things that are so devastating say I'm sorry, it almost makes it worse. It almost doesn't even help. So, you just wanna go, oh, just shut up. I don't even want to hear it. I really just shut the fuck up. Um, anyways, so Mr. Myers and Mr. Mitchell deposed me, and this was a joke. And this is speaking to that. This was not a depo. This was a sting up, because when they didn't get back in touch with me, Mr. Myers, who has the legal responsibility to seek the truth, didn't get back to me when I'm saying you got a Brady violation already. Mr. Nealey did not do anything. He was knocked out. He slept through it, and he's not true. He's not tested until he gets to the hospital. And at this point, nothing was on the docket. Nothing. 2 months after that, April, May 18th, he deposes first responders. And first responders confirmed exactly what I said. And at that point, you think he'd call me and say, we did confirm the information that you gave us was accurate and correct. So we need to depose you and find out, how did you know that? What's going on? He didn't say anything like that. I mean, nothing. I don't hear from him. Officer Nealey's still sitting in jail. His family's still suffering. The Millers think that their father was killed in a drunken brawl instead of in the line of duty trying to protect me and my family. So we're not okay with that. We're not even kind of okay with that. I kept telling people I'm going to file something. Friend of the court brief, something. I've not been to law school, so I don't know exactly what all the titles of the briefs are, the petitions, the motions. So I get that wrong sometimes, and that's just due to lack of being in law school, like I said. But the intent of my motion that I was trying to file was something similar to a friend of the court, in that I wanted to file something for Mr. Nealey to get his voice heard, to get his story on the record, because no one was listening. No one was listening. Meantime, the real offenders are out still trying to kill. They're still out offending. When I'm stepping up for Officer Nealey, I get harassed like a motherfucker. So bad. Witness tampering, oh my God, it got so bad. They wanted me down. I mean, my guys call me and they want to run you off the road tonight, and it's raining. They want to blame the rain. Don't leave your house. So I didn't leave my house. But there was again intent to kill me. So what, I got to come in a body bag before somebody takes care of this? 75% of femicides are stalked first. Femicide victims are stalked first. 75%. Misogyny, stalking, I gotta control you. I'm gonna violently subjugate you. That's the mindset of Mr. Perry and his little minion group, his little weirdo club. I mean, golly, they killed a cop. So, allegedly. I'm not gonna say allegedly every time I put that at the beginning of the podcast. So, I get I sit down one night and I'm reading through the whole fucking docket. I read everything on the docket, every document filed. And I find all the times a first responder says he was found unconscious and he was treated with Narcan. He was found unconscious, he was treated with Narcan, and he came to. What's his injuries? Not a fucking thing. Not a fucking thing. How do you beat someone to death and you have not a fucking thing on you? I'm watching the interview that he has on News 6, News on 6. And he's telling Escambia, I don't believe you that somebody... First he's like, who's dead? This is homicide. Who died? He didn't know what happened. And they're telling him Chief Miller's dead. And he's like, what? You beat him to death. No, I'm sorry, I don't believe you because look at my hands. I'm a detective. You got to have evidence to prove your case. Where's the marks on me, on my hands? Look at my hands. Doesn't look like I hit anybody. No one comes out of a fight where the other guy's beat to death and has nothing on them. His hands would have been very bruised, very swollen, and had broken fingers maybe because Chief Miller's injuries were internal decapitation, blunt force trauma to the head, and some strangulation. You hit somebody hard enough to cause blunt force trauma to the head and cause internal decapitation, your fingers are going to be broken. There's no fucking way that happened, and he has nothing on his hands. He's showing them nothing is on my hands. Now, I know how to watch for, because of the way I was raised and the training that I've had, I know how to watch for people's reactions. There's a normal reaction for this situation and a normal reaction for that situation, depending on what it is. Officer Nealey's reaction, let's say there's a drunk brawl. These two get drunk, they fight. What he's going to say then, even if he's knocked out and he can't remember a damn thing, what he's going to say then when he wakes up is, I was in a fight of some sort. Look at me, I'm all beat up. So what happened and where's Lucky? Is he okay? But he didn't say that. What he said is, I don't believe you because I don't have the injuries consistent with a man who was in a fight. And they ignored him. And I'm like, Detective Fife, the fuck is your problem? I've never in my life wanted so bad to get in my car and drive to Florida and get in the guy's face and go, you're the reason people want to defund cops. You're the guy that does that. Bad cops mess it up for the good ones. And that's what you just did. What in the fuck is wrong with you? It didn't occur to you that if he has not a mark on him, he didn't do it. He's a victim of attempted murder. You're reading the report. He is treated with Narcan. He's found unconscious. You have that in your report, your arrest report. He doesn't remember a fucking thing. And not only that, you don't name injuries in your arrest report. But for his lip being busted afterward. Completely different event. Completely different event. There's the fight, that's one event. Then after the fight, Hotel John walks in, pulls Officer Nealey off of Chief Miller, throws him face first into the floor. Completely number 2 event. Second event. 2 separate events. That's when he busted his lip. His hand is red and swollen, Detective Fife, because there's a needle in it with an IV. Okay? You need to keep up slow. So that irritates me. I don't like stupid people, and I don't like corrupt people. It irritates the shit out of me. So when I did this deposition, keep that in mind. I'm not going to give them information unless they ask me for the information. I want to know what in the fuck is going on with these two, Mitchell and Myers. Whose side are they? Are they on the take? Are they on the take or on the side of the people who pay them, taxpayers, the public, whose safety they are to protect? It's not a choice. That's their job. If you don't want to do your job, quit taking taxpayer money. Don't take my money so you have a roof over your head and a food on your table and a car in your driveway. We take care of you. You take care of us. You don't want to do that. Get the fuck out of the job and go do something else. Go call Charles Perry and go work for him. We hear he pays great. And you go be his thug, if that's your way. Because I'm going to tell you right now, one more incident like we saw with Derek Chauvin and Mr. Floyd, you're done. Cops are done. People have lost patience, they've lost trust, and now it's hard to recruit cops because everyone's so pissed off at them for doing shit just like that. If you can't do it right, get out because you're messing it up for the good guys. There's a lot of good cops. A lot of good cops. They do it right, and you're not doing it right, and now people don't trust anybody. That's your fault. I'm angry. I grew up in a family of 3 generations of police. My granddad's name is on the front door of the police station where he served because people respected his work product. We don't respect yours if you're sloppy, if you're inept, if you're incompetent, or you're corrupt. Any of that is get out. Just get the fuck out of it. And go work for the thugs that pay you. Don't take the money from people. The tax dollars. You don't have that right. You don't. So you have caused a family in Stroud, Oklahoma, a woman and her 3 children, to believe that her husband was killed in a drunken brawl. To demean him and degrade him like that is not acceptable. He deserves to be honored that he's killed in the line of duty because that's what happened, and we all know it. And you perpetrated a fraud upon a court when you didn't go into a courtroom and tell what really happened that night. And it wasn't what you said. And then you have another family who believes that their dad is a fucking murderer, and he's not. He slept through the whole thing. Mr. Nealey, Officer Nealey, is a victim of attempted murder and fraud upon a court. It's not okay. This Myers and Mitchell was a sting up. You were sting upped. I'm very good at what I do because I can do this kind of shit and nobody knows that's what I'm doing. In fact, I waited a little bit to see if someone would say it. She sting upped those 2 and they didn't know that's what she just did. I waited for someone and nobody said it. I had to point it out to them. Here's what I did in this conversation right here. There's a couple of things that I talked about, but I didn't get into a whole lot because they needed to ask me about it. And if they were interested in the truth seeking and their own case, they'll ask me about it. One is, how did you know Mike Nealey was drugged before it hit the docket? Before it became public information? Before we even deposed first responders? How'd you know? Nobody asked me that. Not one of them asked me that. The second one was getting more into the evidence of the witness tampering. Why would you don't tamper with someone that doesn't know what they're talking about? There is no need to tamper with a witness that doesn't know anything. You don't need to coerce someone to lie who's already lying. Correct? All right, so they need to look at this website here. It's justiceforsin.com because I recorded the deposition. It's right here. And Mr. Myers says, what do you do for a living? I'm an adult entertainer. Are you a cop? I just said I'm an adult entertainer. Why are you even asking me if I'm a cop? I'll tell you why. Because Perry and Powell and those guys wanted to know, am I a cop? Because I can do things like sting up like this. I'm not a cop, but I'm something. I wasn't ever sworn in, by the way. They could have taken me off the payroll to do this deposition and put me right back on it. What the thing is it doesn't matter. And I've said that to Mr. Perry repeatedly every time he fucking asks me the question, are you a cop? If I am, I can lie. So what difference does it make it? Why are you asking me? If I'm not, I can't say I'm a cop. That's illegal. What have I told you? I've said no, but I'm something. I can do a sting up like this. I've caught your crime more than anybody else you know. So you know I'm something. But it's a need to know, so you don't need to know. You don't need to know. What you need to know is when you contact me, when you cause a problem for me, when you cause a hardship for me, when you cause, get into my privacy, all of a sudden your crime starts getting caught like a motherfucker, doesn't it? So if I'm telling Mr. Myers, what do you do for a living? I'm a dancer at a strip club. Are you in law enforcement? Mr. Myers, what I just said is I'm a dancer at a motherfucking strip club, sir. Then I know where that's coming from, because the questions I'm getting asked have nothing to do with Officer Nealey's trial or his case. It's everything to do with Perry's false claims of harassment, which he had planned for a long time. We're going to send her home. We're going to harass the hell out of her and do things like vandalize her car, throw a brick at her on the freeway. Then when she complains about it, we'll say she's harassing us. Let me say this too real quick, Mr. Perry. I'm in criminology. Okay, so everybody knows I'm in criminal justice college. I'm in my second year. I've got a 3.9 GPA. I'm having a little bit of a hard time with the class I'm in now. It's victimology. There's two classes I've had a hard time with, victimology and criminology. I'm not having a hard time with them because it's intellectually above me. What I'm having a hard time with is it's emotional. I'm reading my life. It's hard to read this. It's hard to study about the shit you're going through. The mindset of someone who is committing a crime against you and causing so much suffering, so much loss. Criminology was a beast. I mean, it was a bitch for me. I had a hell of a time with it. And I told my professor, thankfully a lot of my professors are police. So I'm telling him, I am enjoying learning from this class, but I'm going to be honest with you. I'm having a hard time with it emotionally because I'm reading about the person who's hurting my life, who's ruining lives. I'm reading the mindset of the person that's doing all this crap to me and to other families like the Nealeys and the Millers. And so I need you to understand that some days I can't do it. I can't get my homework done on time. I can't. I need to take a minute and decompress and then come back to it. This class is a hell of a thing. I didn't have that hard time with any of my other classes. I've had a lot of classes of criminal justice, but these two are a bitch for me emotionally. So I can do it, but I got to pace myself. And he was very kind and said, oh, I get it. It's fine. So my homework was a little bit late on a couple of occasions because of I needed to take a minute, and I had to read all the stuff of what goes through the mind. You know, criminology is basically the study of why the fuck would anyone do that to someone. So why the fuck would anyone kill a cop? You know, I'm raised in 3 generations of cops, so that's like killing my family. I mean, that's like what that feels like to me, and I have not cried. I don't cry because all of this stuff has happened to me so much for so long that it becomes routine. If I cried over every little thing that happened, it would be ridiculous. So I'm very mentally tough, but what I do cry about is if I cry about anything, it's Officer Nealey and Chief Miller. That upsets me, and watching how other law enforcement has failed them. I don't understand that because I went through a lot of sacrifices to step up for Officer Nealey because that's just what you do. That's what I'm taught. You do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. You don't need anybody's permission. And if a fellow family member of law enforcement is suffering, you gotta get in there and help. And I have the information that he needed to go home. Because if Officer Nealey killed someone, I'm not going to help him. But I know that he didn't. There's no way. You don't kill someone and be found unconscious and drugged and treated with drug overdose medication and have not a mark on you. I was looking through my text to Mr. Mitchell, and I'm looking at his hypotheses, and I'm like, your hypothesis is not even possible. It's not possible. You got to come up with something plausible as what happened that night. And I'm telling you, he did it with his ass. You have to be shitting me with that. Where the hell do you come up with that? Dave Robertson think that up? Charles Perry think that up? That sounds like something they would say. Something that's not even what in the fuck is that? He did it with his ass while he's asleep. No. I mean, come on with this. This is your client. You have a fiduciary obligation to give him a vigorous defense. And you didn't even try. Because I gave you the defense. I told you what happened. And you failed him. You didn't put that before the jury. And I know what happened. Because of Mr. Perry's being investigated. Mr. Powell, Mr. Burson, Mr. Robertson are being investigated. Mostly Perry for his online peep show. His exploitation. His human rights violations and so forth. Of which I've been a victim. But the thing is, I'm a victim, but I'm also bait. And I'm not going to get into that any more than I already have. I've said that and said that and said that over and over and over. Mr. Perry does not care about getting told on, because if he did, he'd stop. Every time he fucks with me, he gets caught. It's never happened to him before. And he goes at me and goes at anyway. He got caught 2 days ago. He got caught yesterday. He got caught a week ago. He got caught every fucking time he goes at me. And he just gets up the next morning and does it again. Like he's got Alzheimer's or something. If he doesn't like getting caught and told on, he would stop. It's been that way since 2015. So this sting up, this depo was not a depo. This was a sting up. And I was looking for them to ask me, how do you know that Michael Nealey was drugged? And they didn't even ask me. I was looking for them to ask me about the witness tampering, the Facebook messages that I got that would indicate to any astute police officer, this is the perpetrator right here. Because he's asking, how does she know Officer Nealey had to be begged to go to Pensacola? That means there was a premeditated plan here, and they needed him there to do it, to carry out that plan. So they just want to know if she knows who's the one that did that. If you're an astute police officer, that's what you're thinking. You know how I know that? I'm around astute police officers. I was raised by 3 generations of them. So you can imagine at the dinner table what we had conversations about. Police work, detective work, my grandparents, my granddad, my great-granddad. They were featured in Startling Detective for solving a murder. That's like being on Forensic Files these days. I was around it all my life. My dad was a shitty person. He was a really good cop, though. And had he not had some substance abuse problems, he would have fucking been the greatest cop ever. He knew Susan Smith was lying about killing her kids in, the first time she did a TV interview. Immediately he goes, she did it. How do you know? What? He's explaining to me, watch when she says this, watch when she does that, watch this. She's the killer. And sure enough, it comes out she was. He was right. I grew up hearing that all my life. I grew up hearing that, if I drive down my neighborhood and there was a car that was unusual, that didn't belong, and I didn't get the plates, I got in a lot of trouble. I grew up with that. I remember one time driving down the street. I was like 15. I just got my driver's license. And I'm driving down the street to my house, and I pull in the driveway, and there was a funky car sitting outside the neighbor's house. And I walked in, and I go, I think it was a few doors down. And I walked in my house, and I'm a teenage girl, and my dad's a former police officer man. And I'm like, Dad, there's a car down the street that doesn't look like it fits there. It doesn't belong. I've not seen it there before. Did you get a plate? No. Did you get a description? What color is it? What's the make and model? Blah, blah, blah. What's the guy look like? And I'm like, Dad, I don't know. You go look. I'm telling you, so you'll go look. Oh my God, I got in so much trouble. From now on, if you see a car that doesn't fit and that doesn't belong, you get the make and you get the model, and I want a full description of the person inside the car. I want to know how many people are inside the car. You get the plate number, you get the tag number, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God. That's how I was raised, to think like that. Most people, they don't think that conversation would happen in their house. It happened in mine. Anytime something was off a little bit, if we didn't say something and get a full, get all the information about it, we got in so much trouble. So that's just how I was taught to think all my life, being raised with police. So hold on a minute. All right, so I have hold on. Okay, so there's 2 pieces of evidence here real quick that are key pieces of evidence that I'm going to show you. This and Mitchell and Myers got this. Okay, so the other questions that Mitchell says is, I got a lot of emails from you, and, why are you sending me so many emails, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, I sent you 5. So why does that matter to you? How is that relevant to Mike Nealey's trial? The number of emails that you were sent. I sent Jane Mitchell 5 emails. I said that in my deposition. What happened is I sent him 5 emails with attachments of evidence. And then I said to him, and I can't remember if I emailed it to him, if I texted it to him, or called him. I said, I've sent you 5 emails, sir, with evidence attached, and I feel like I'm going to bog you down with emails. So instead of doing that, I'm going to set up a Dropbox account for you. So they have that. Hang on. Here it is. This is theirs. That's not even... Travis Myers was on here and Gene Mitchell's on here that they can view. They didn't even look. But that's what happened. We set that up. And after the trial, I put on the media. I included the media in it, but they weren't in on it before. They were not invited to view before. So all of these people, Gene Mitchell and Myers, did not even look at the evidence in the Dropbox that I set up for them. But I set the Dropbox up for them so that they would not get 20,000 gazillion emails with evidence attached. I sent 5 to Mr. Mitchell. All 5 had evidence attached, or it was a forward of what I sent to Myers in January and again in March, telling him you got a guy who was drugged and didn't do this. And he ignored me. There was no information public yet. Depositions had not been even taken yet. What if one of my guys went over and talked to a first responder before and finds out he was given Narcan? See, they don't know. Nobody called me and asked me. This is someone's future. Meanwhile, the real bad guy's out there killing people, sir. This was a threat that was made to me and carried out. And because it was made, because Mr. Perry told someone, I'm going to put Cynthia in jail. This was in October 2015. I'm going to find a way to arrest her, and she's going to come back here in handcuffs. And then I'm going to coerce her to lie. That's what this pretty much says. And he's been trying to do it again ever since. There's not a day that goes by that he's not trying to find a way to put me in jail. He's told everybody, I'm going to try to find a way to put her in jail, and she won't get out this time unless she's my girlfriend. Ew. Ew. Violent subjugation. Domestic violence. You're a sick little man. You know that? But because you fucked with me, you keep getting caught. And yet you keep fucking with me. So you must not mind getting caught. Nobody does the same thing every day for this long if they don't like the results they're getting. And all you've gotten is told on and caught and told on and caught and told on and caught more than ever in your life, and you'll never get a date with me, ever. So there's this. This is very important. Here's the next one. Here is the harassment email dated April 11, 2018. I'm gonna send her home. I'm gonna harass the shit out of her, like do things to her car, vandalize her car, get her fired, take her money, whatever. And when she complains about it, I'm going to claim I'm a victim of harassment when she tells on me. So that is why Mr. Mitchell made the comments about the number of emails that I had, because it's not relevant to Mike Nealey's trial. That doesn't have anything at all to do with whether or not he killed someone. I said, I'm going to give you evidence. I've given you 5 emails with evidence attached. That's going to be too many. There's a lot more. So instead of bogging down your email, I'm going to give you a file in my Dropbox, okay? Sure, that sounds good. So what is the fuck the comment in my deposition of you sent me about a whole bunch of emails? That has nothing to do with the guilt or innocence in the murder trial of Officer Nealey, and it shouldn't have even been asked me. But it was asked me. Okay, so my theory, my hypothesis was that Charles and Dave did this. Now, there's 2 different schools of thought, and I'm not going to get into any details about what I know. But there's 2 schools of thought. Dave hired bikers to do it, and the other one is that it was a police conference they were at, and it was Texas Rangers who have covered up and lied for Charles for years. And Chief Miller and Mike Nealey were not going to do it. So they did this. So we've got 2 groups of possible suspects, but all related to or hired by Charles Perry, David Robertson, Matthew Powell, Joe Chadwick, and Joshua Burson. Now I'm going to back that up a little bit, because the information that we had currently is that Charles and Dave did it. Joshua Burson knew about it but didn't stop it. Joe, I have no information on at all. I don't know. Matt Powell did not know anything about it beforehand, but he did know after that they did it, and he's very much attempted to cover it up ever since. He's an accessory after the fact. So that's the information that we have so far. Okay, so the harassment email is confirmed that this is of interest to Charles Perry. and David Robertson in that group, the 5 that I was suing when I was living in Manford. I can't say I was living there. I was staying at a hotel. I was living in hotels for a couple of years. I actually, for 2 years, bounced around hoping they wouldn't find me. And I got pulled over by a Manford officer, a police officer. And he said, it wasn't Mike, it wasn't Chief Miller, and it wasn't Chief Ridley. He said it was somebody else, and I'm not going to name it. I'm not going to name him. He said, I'm pretty sure he could hire a PI and find you, even out here. And I said, he's a stalker. So my guess is he did that the day I got here. And you did have the guy that said to our guy, I had 3 people in my office comment, how did they even know she was in Manford? How did they even know? I'm not stalking her. I had no idea that's where she was. The whole allegation is stalking. So why did they even know that's where she was? How did they know where she worked? I didn't know where she worked. I'm not stalking her. I don't even care. Why did they know? The allegations are stalking. The only way they would know is they're stalking. What's wrong with a man who's married, lives in another state? She clearly can't stand him. And so why is he stalking her? Exactly. Why are you? It's 8 years I left. You have no chance of a date with me ever. And what does the bacon say? You're garbage. You're human garbage. I could not agree more. So, I think most people would agree, Mr. Perry. When a woman says, leave me alone, leave her the fuck alone. Or you're garbage. You're fucking garbage. Okay, if you kill a cop, you don't understand the people pissed off right now. Do you know there's a whole United States full of cops? Whole United States full of police officers. And I understand you guys have called all over the place trying to find out who's helping me. You're making me a fucking legend. And a lot of guys are very upset about what you did to Mike and Lucky. Very, 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 very pissed off. And it has resonated with them that I've defended him so fiercely. That's what you do for cop family. You can't understand that if you don't come from cop. You don't know. You have no clue what that's like if you don't come from police. You don't know. I did, so I do know. The sacrifices made, the sacrifices my family made, the sacrifices that we went through, the sacrifices that the Nealeys and the Millers go through, only cop family gets it. No one gets it unless you're in that group of people. You don't know. So, like, fuck you. And this is what Mr. Perry's second plan was. And that's the line of questioning that I got from Mitchell and Myers, other than, are you a cop? Because they're wanting to know how come she's finding out all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. I would get asked that by people that Charles hired to come to my work. Oh, are you a cop? And I'd be like, oh my God. You know what? I'm dancing right now. So why are you even asking me this? Why the fuck are you even asking me this? I'm not a cop, and I've said that. But if I was, I could lie, couldn't I? If you're being investigated and you're asking me, are you a cop? I can lie about that, Mr. Perry. So why the fuck are you even asking me that? And I think I said that to one of the guys that came to my work asking me, are you a cop? And I go, look, I'm not a cop. But if I'm not a cop, I can't say that I am. If I am and I'm undercover, I could lie. So why the fuck, what good does it do for you to ask me? Yeah, okay. What I am is something. Maybe I'm the trash collector. I'm the bait. So, because Mr. Perry's done this to a lot of women for a long time. But when he does it to me, he gets caught. And yet he keeps doing this stuff to me. He's asking for it. So, hang on. Okay, so this here, we're going to real quick recap what happened that night. This is my son. It's on Snapchat, so I didn't figure he'd mind if I use his picture since he put it out all over the world on his Snapchat. He was in Las Vegas for his birthday, Las Vegas, Nevada, where we came from. And he has a busted lip and a bruised cheek here and a bruised eye. He said he was hanging out with some guys, and I think he thinks one of them might have been doing some other shit. and he was like moody and popped off and hit him for something he said. He said he hit me 3 4 times. I'm holding a beer. It didn't even slosh out. Security guard comes around, runs everybody off. Everybody goes home safe and sound. He goes, it mostly pissed me off more than it actually hurt. But if you notice, he's got blood all over his shirt. His lips busted. He's okay. He looks like he was in a fight, right? Okay, so now hang on. And then I wish that these guys would tell me who I'm listening to on their recordings, but they won't tell me, for a lot of reasons. But this is, what someone said. Now look at Officer Nealey and point out for me, where are the marks on him that look like he was in a fight? Any fight at all? Where are they? Point him out. There's not any. These are from News on 6. I got this from the story that aired on News on 6. I just screenshotted it while I was playing. This guy has an IV in his right hand. That is a needle that would make your hands red and swollen. And first responders said they don't put a needle in an injured hand, so they would have put it in the left if his hand was injured when they got there. They don't put a needle in an injured hand. It was the deposition. Read it. It's on the docket. I took my time, and I read through the entire docket. I read every testimony on there. All of it. So if you are going to question me, you better have done the same. You better have fucking do your homework. I did. So you can see he has nothing on him. He doesn't say I was in a fight. I'm all beat up. Where's Lucky? Is he okay? Who did this? What happened? What he says is, I can't believe you because I don't have anything on me to indicate I was in a fight. Nothing on me to indicate I was in a fight. The busted lip was in a second event that occurred after the first. Okay, so here's this. This is the arrest report signed by Detective Fife. This guy gets a gold star for being a failed police officer who needs to go find a different job because the bad ones ruin it for the good ones, and we don't want police to be defunded. That's not the goal here. The goal is to keep that from happening. The pendulum swings back and forth on different issues in this country, and one of them is policing. I'm a big fan of community policing, by the way, because I watched how my granddad did policing. And just kind of like my dad teaching us to look for vehicles in our neighborhood that didn't belong or didn't fit. They would be unusual because you might have somebody scoping out the neighborhood to invade a house later. So if you catch things like that, then you can hopefully prevent a home invasion. So that's one thing. And my granddad knew who belonged in the neighborhood. He knew everybody up and down his block, which people had problems with what thing. And then he's able to prevent crime that way. You know, if you know everybody's situation, which woman in the neighborhood is a victim of domestic violence. Do you need to watch it when that ex-husband, that violent ex-husband comes over or around there or whatever? You know, there's things that community policing really does a great job preventing crime on. I'm a fan of that because of the way I grew up. That was basically community policing, the way they did things a little different in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. So, enough. You got this police report. Again, the guy said, read the police report and point out to me what are the injuries listed that Mike Nealey had that indicate he was even in a fight. There's not any. Red swollen right hand, busted lip from a second event. So, I'm not going to sit here and read the whole thing. I already have done that like so many times. So I'm just going to, anybody can pull this up off the docket and read it. It's a little blurry too in my screenshot. Anybody can pull it up and look at it. So Meyer's job as the Florida State's attorney is to prosecute a crime. Well, there's no crime here that I can see. I'm not seeing the crime. Because if you beat somebody to death, you've got to have indications and evidence of that on you. You got to look like you were in a fight. You've got to have broken hand. You cannot cause internal decapitation, blunt force trauma to the head so bad it kills you, kills the victim, strangulation. You can't have those kind of injuries on a party who is now deceased and the other guy has hands that look like this. You can't cause those kind of injuries and have hands that look like that. not possible. They're going to be bruised and broken. It's not going to. They're not going to look like that. On Gene Mitchell's assertion that while he's asleep, he killed him with his ass. Oh, wow. First time in the history of mankind ever that's happened. He has pulled off something no man before him has ever done. So, hang on. This is the date, March 2nd, 2021. I'm telling Gene Mitchell, what in the fuck is wrong with you? He was drugged and not tested until he got to the hospital. I knew that. How did I know that? No one asked me that. And that is pertinent to the murder trial. That was pertinent information to the murder trial. That was pertinent, Mr. Myers. That mattered, not how many emails I sent and what my email address was and all that shit you guys asked me that has more to do with the harassment allegations Mr. Perry made than what your case was. Right here, Narcan. The date is May 5th, May 18th. 3 months before. Right there. Now, the chemical composition in Mike Nealey's blood was such that it knocked him out. That's when you pull the blood, right then. Once he's given Narcan, it changes the chemical composition in his blood. He comes to. Now it's all different. The Narcan changed the chemical composition of his blood. We don't know what he was given and how much he was given. We don't know. Because it wasn't tested while he's knocked out. While he's knocked out, we need the chemical composition of his blood at that moment to find out what knocked him out. Why is he asleep right now and struggling with breathing? He was in respiratory distress. He was dying. He was dying. You can't kill someone else with a beatdown when you're dying and you can't breathe and you're asleep. Now, I'm going to tell you what happened that night. It's, again, it's a hypothesis, but you know who was supposed to prove or disprove my hypotheses or anyone else's? Was Detective Fife of Escambia Sheriff's Department. Mike Nealey called down to get his remote. They couldn't find the remote. Here comes Hotel John. He opens the door wide. Everyone can see. Everyone in the room is fine, like he's visually observed, laying on the bed by the window. Mike is friendly, a little drunk. We can't find the remote. Hotel John helps him find the remote. Everyone's safe and sound. Everyone's fine. That's about 6 o'clock. He leaves. Then there's yelling, screaming, fight. Hotel John goes back up to the room. This was about 8 o'clock, I guess. And Lucky opens the door, but he won't open it wider than his face. At this point, he seems to be okay. No one knows what happened, what was going on with Mike. Mike is supposedly an angry drunk about to kill someone. About to beat someone to death. He's that angry. And yet he's dead quiet at 8 o'clock. Not a peep from him. Wrong. Mike is already passed out. The fight was over that. Mike was probably sitting on the bed watching TV, drinking something that had been spiked. He passes out. He falls back on the bed. Lucky starts yelling, "What'd you give him?" And if he's yelling, "Stop it, Mike, stop it, Mike," stop it to the offender. "Mike, are you okay?" That's what that was all. There was no visual context to put those utterances. So they're fighting, right? So they're yelling. "What'd you give Mike? He's passing out." "What'd you give him?" They're screaming. They're yelling. Here comes Hotel John again because there's a noise complaint. He comes up. He bangs on the door. Lucky will not open the door bigger than his face. That means there was probably someone right behind him with a gun to his head. Get rid of Hotel John. Get rid of Hotel John. As soon as he shuts the door, based on the timeline and the way that the room was, if the guy, excuse me, the offender's behind him, he subdues him right at that point as soon as he shuts the door, pulls him back into the right where he was found in that confined space. When you're in a fight, you're going to fall slumped. You're going to fall slumped against the wall, slumped against the floor. Lucky was found face up, nice and neat, like he was placed in that very confined small space he was found in. So he was put there. He wasn't slumped over. There was no cameras in the hallways to see another person coming in and out of that room. The only cameras were in the lobby. Well, there's other entrances and exits in the building. They were found in their street clothes. Lisa said that when Michael went to sleep, he had sweats. So they weren't going to bed. They had somebody else in that room. So this person is behind him. He subdues him. He beats him. They pull him back in that corner, place him there. Probably tried to strangle him a little bit. And they might start hearing the guests making scuffles. People are gonna start complaining again. We got to get out of here. They take Mike off the bed, throw him on top of Lucky, and leave, thinking both are dead or dying. There's a loud weird roaring sound for 45 minutes after that. That was one of them dying. Probably Chief Miller, maybe. Air leaving the body, dying. That roaring sound. When it stopped, they again go down and get Hotel John. This is about 9. Hotel John gets up to the room, finds them, Chief Miller's deceased, pulls the mic off of him and throws him face first into the floor. And then the first responders get there, make a medical determination that Officer Nealey has not been knocked out in a fight, overdosed. They give him Narcan. They set it right here. So Officer Nealey slept through the whole fight. That's why he doesn't have a mark on him, and that's why he can't remember anything. And the red swollen right hand has an IV in it, needle. Detective Fife. So you put all that together, Detective. The needle in the right hand, the Narcan being given, and he's found unconscious and in respiratory distress. You can pretty much figure out at this point he's a victim of attempted murder, not the perpetrator. At least in my Detective 101 school that I grew up in Roswell Police Department. So we're all pissed that you didn't catch all that. And then I'm supposed to testify, and I start getting harassed the fuck out of me. I went a week without electricity or food because Mr. Perry and Mr. Robertson decided to punish me. So they hacked me. Anytime I try to get work, they'll call and make sure I don't get work. But I'm going to tell you something. The guys that are helping me, Mr. Perry, when I do something, we talk about it first, so you don't even know about it. They've already set something up to have you recorded if you call and try to interfere with my work. Same thing with the grocery that I went through the other day. That's been about, a month ago or so. I'm telling my guys already, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. So I'm calling them on the phone, I'm telling them what I'm going to do. But I do it where you can't see. So then they've already set something up, Mr. Perry. So when you fuck it up for me, they got you. They got you. You've never been this caught in your life. But yet you keep pestering me. You keep provoking. You ask for it. So this was the question, Myers, and Mitchell, and any news media. This was the question. You guys don't look in the Dropbox, so I don't know. You'll see it. Point out for me, on Mike Nealey, where are the marks that look like he was in a fight? Point that out for me. Look at her son, and then look at him. Now read the arrest report and point out for me, where are the injuries listed in the arrest report that indicate Mike Nealey was even in a fight? Yep. Okay. So now everybody's pissed. This was the shit going on. This was the shit going on that Officer Nealey and Chief Miller were hearing about. Not even from me. The first time I called them was that one time they took that report 6 days before the murder. This happened. Laura called all the time, reporting people coming up there, taking pictures of me and crap like that. It was disgusting. That's my grades. I'm not stupid. That's my grades. I'm not stupid. That's my granddad. That's who taught me that crime is to be relieved. The suffering is to be relieved. It's not a choice. It's what you do. That's power is in service. As lawmen, we are called to relieve suffering caused by crime. You look the victim in the face and you say, you're safe now. You're safe now. We got the bad guy, and he's not going to hurt you anymore. And there's a that's the wall honoring him. He's at LM Hall. Whole wall in that police department honoring him, and Thompson, Chief Thompson. That's my kids dressed up for Halloween like police. The little one is mean. That's the one that was in the fight when he's 21 years later after this picture was taken. This is what would happen. People pulling up, taking pictures of me. The night that the brick came at me on the freeway, you go out to the right there, and then you just get on the highway and go. So because there was Perry's guy sitting there, I went to the left. So you can go out to the left too, but it takes longer. You're gonna have to come back around to get on the freeway, and it's gonna delay about 2-3 minutes, which it did. It probably saved my life. This is about the black Texas plate SUV that we all talked about, and kind of what led Laura to go. They killed them both. They got them both. She didn't say they killed them both. She said they got them both. They got them both. And I was like, we were shocked. We were all in shock. We could not believe it. Could not believe it. So I don't have any patience for what Mitchell and Myers have done to Officer Nealey. It's pathetic. He didn't. There's no way he could have done it. There's no way he could have committed that murder. And it is a shame that the Miller family does not know that their family member was killed in the line of duty, not reduced to, this drunken brawl bullshit they all thought up. Everyone is tired of this. I don't have any other words to say. We're sick of y'all. I'm sorry that you've chosen to be scumbags, but that's not our problem. It's your problem. You grown men, you fucking deal with it, but don't you hurt people anymore. Because when you fuck with us, when you fuck with me, for sure, you're getting caught. And that's never happened to you before. It's never happened to you before. Now, we've told you and told you and told you, you make this right with Mike, you get him home. I'm not kidding you. You don't have a choice. It's funny that you think you do, as many times as you've had to ask the question, how'd she find out about that? How'd she know about that? How'd she find out? Oh my God. When you fuck with me, that's what happens. And we fully expect you to make it right with Mike Nealey and get him home and vindicate him, because he's not a murderer. He's not. He's not a murderer. Perry, shut the fuck up, man. The more you mess with me, the more you're told on. The more you mess with me, the more you're told on. You're provoking, you're asking for it. The more you mess with me, the more you're told on. There's not a romance here, man. You're delusional. You've imposed that on everybody else get off me. Get the fuck off me. Mr. Perry, get off me. Mr. Perry, get the hell out of my life right now. Get the fuck out of my life. You provoke, you get told on. You provoke and pester, you get told on. Do you like getting told on? Because you're asking for it. Every day, everybody has to ask the question, how did she find out? It is your fault. You provoked, you pestered, you caused a problem, you caused hardship, you asked for it. 2015 McNamara email, sir, was the first. And every day since. Don't ask again, how'd she find out? You asked for it, sir. When you cause problems and hardship for me, that's what happens. When you pester and pester and pester and pester, get out of my computer, get out of my phone, get out of my life. No one cares what you think. You weren't asked. You were told, get the fuck out, leave me alone. Do right by Mike, or we'll fix the problem. And again, if you'll wish you had just fucking done what I told you. Fabian puzzle. If they can get what you just said and that puzzle to me, what else can they do? You're provoking that. You're provoking them. Mike was drugged email. Mike was drugged email. Fabian puzzle. McNamara email. Because you messed with me. Leave me alone. You have a chance right now to do the right thing. If my guys have to do it for you, you're not going to like it any more than when they get what you just said and give it to me. And yeah, ooh, how'd she find out? How'd she know? I fully expect you to comply with the law. Fully expect it. Don't contact me, because when you do, we get more. You're provoking. You're asking for it. You're asking for it.
Leave me alone. I don't want proof of this. Please leave me alone.
Hey, men, leave women the fuck alone. When they're in public, when they're doing anything, you don't have the right to their attention. You don't have the right to step into their personal space. You don't have the right to them, especially if they're making it very clear they don't want to be talked to. But even when they're not, unless a woman is giving you enthusiastic and continuous body language and signs that she wants to talk to your ugly dumb ass, then leave her the fuck alone. Find a date a different way. Okay? It's not clever. It's not cool. It's not cute. It's garbage. It's absolute garbage behavior, and you're a garbage person if you do it. I don't care if it's in public. It doesn't fucking matter. You don't have the right to her, and you need to leave her alone. And this is Bacon.